Yeah. Now let's continue master Snowflake. In this, let's continue stored procedures in Snowflake team. Till now, we seen SQL statements. We written multiple SQL statements in SQL worksheet. Instead of writing multiple SQL statement, instead of executing multiple statement individually, my requirement is I want to write group of SQL statements to perform a particular task. So we have stored procedures. Stored procedures are like a functions. In this stored procedures, uh, we can write uh, we can write group of SQL statements, related SQL statements to perform a particular task or action. And all the statements we write in a procedure are related statements to perform particular action. Okay, here we can implement stored procedures with programmatic implementations like control flow statements. And the advantage of the stored procedures are reusable. We can write a stored procedure one time. We can call that stored procedure any number of times wherever we require. And other advantage is we can divide large problem into smaller problems. Each problem we can develop using stored procedures, and we can reuse all these problems in main function or main call. So modularity, dividing large problem into smaller problems and implement different procedures. So basic syntax of procedure is we use create or replace procedure, procedure name, and then every procedure returns value. So we have to return what is the value we are returning. Then we can specify the type of that value. Then which language we are using to implement this stored procedure. It supports SQL, it supports Python. So you can provide which language you are using to implement stored procedure team. And then here we start a stored procedure with the begin statement. Then we write SQL statements and we end stored procedure using end statement and dollar symbols. So these two are very important. Starts with dollar and begin. Then we write one or more SQL statements. Then we end stored procedure using end and a dollar symbol. Let's start implementing. Yeah. Start of stored procedure. Yeah. Let's start one stored procedure. In this, we are writing insert logic. Insert logic. One minute. Yeah. Here I'm writing one stored procedure. Using this stored procedure, I want to insert data into table. So in this, first I'm creating one table called customers using create command. So this create command we perform only one time. Then insert we may do multiple times. So here what I'm doing, I am creating one, let me create SQL file. Let me give SQL file name, stored procedures. Then here Let's use this database to use raw underscore db and raw underscore schema. Now I am creating customers table. In this customer table, I want to insert the data. So to insert the data, I am writing one stored procedure. So first I am writing stored procedure definition. Stored procedure definition tip. So create or replace insert customers. A stored procedure take 0 or more arguments. You can specify how many arguments you are taking. Then once this stored procedure successfully completed, we are returning some message to the caller who calls this stored procedure. We are returning message in a string form. Then I am implementing this stored procedure using SQL language. Then start of stored procedure. Then here I am writing insert into customers, and whatever parameters we are receiving, right, I am passing this first name, last name, and email ID and values. So whatever values we taken as a parameters, I'm using colon that parameter values. Then finally, I'm returning message saying customer inserted successfully message to the caller of the stored function. Let me select the stored procedure. Let's execute. So function insert customers created successfully. So stored procedure definition completed. Now call a stored procedure. So I am calling stored procedure, call stored procedures. Then here I am writing call insert underscore customer. I am passing parameters to this stored procedure. This stored procedure expecting three parameters, first name, last name, and email ID. So same parameters I am passing to stored procedure. So let me select this query. Let's execute. So stored procedure is executed successfully. It is return message saying customers inserted successfully. Then I am writing select query to find whether record is inserted successfully or not. So it is inserted. So customer ID, customer first name, last name, and email ID, and created data. If you see in create table query, customer ID, I set up auto increment and I said it is a primary key. So this auto increment started customer ID 1. For next record, it will increase customer ID. I used auto increment key. It will generate keys dynamically into this customer ID column. And coming to created at, I used timestamp. Default, I used current timestamp. So if you see here, it is created current timestamp value into this created data. So here I said this column is a default column. If you not insert a value into this created at, it will generate current timestamp and loads that value into created at column. Because of auto increment, because of default values, we are seeing customer ID, we are seeing created it with current date and time. Clear writing this stored procedure. First we are creating stored procedure. Next we are calling this stored procedure. Yeah. Return type is optional. If not return value, it will return default value empty. Yes, yes. Because stored procedure syntax is return type should be presented. If not return any value, it will return default value empty. Yes.